For centuries, humanity's population has soared, with cities swelling and new generations constantly arriving to fill our neighborhoods, schools, and workplaces. The world once worried about overpopulation, but now, a new and unexpected challenge is emerging. Today, experts warn of a looming crisis, a global baby bust that could change the course of history. In many places, playgrounds are growing quieter and the laughter of children is fading. The idea of running out of people might sound absurd at first. After all, the world still feels crowded. But when you look closely at the data, a different story emerges, one that's both surprising and alarming. Birth rates are falling, not just in far-off places but in the world's biggest economies. Countries like Japan, Germany, and even the United States are seeing fewer babies born each year. Classrooms are emptier, and cities are aging. This isn't about sudden extinction, but a slow, generational fade that could reshape our societies in ways we're only beginning to understand. Families are getting smaller and the balance between young and old is shifting dramatically. The consequences go far beyond smaller families. They threaten the very structure of our economies and communities. Fewer workers mean challenges for businesses, governments, and the support systems we all rely on. We're at a demographic crossroads, facing a future no modern society has ever seen. The choices we make now will shape the world for generations to come. So, let's talk about the global birth rate crisis, what's happening, why it's happening, and what it means for all of us. This is a story that affects every country, every community, and every family. Are we really running out of people? The answer might be more uncomfortable and more urgent than you think. The alarm bells are ringing thanks to a major United Nations Population Fund study. Across 14 countries, representing a third of the world's population, birth rates have dropped below the replacement level. Replacement level means each woman needs to have about 2.1 children for the population to stay stable. Right now, almost every major country is below that mark. The US is projected at just 1.6 births per woman for decades to come. This isn't a blip or a pandemic dip, it's a deep structural shift. Wealthy, developing, progressive, conservative, no country is immune. People everywhere are having fewer children than previous generations. The trend is global, consistent, and accelerating. The numbers are clear. The world's population growth is grinding to a halt. Why are birth rates falling? The number one reason: money. 40% of people say financial stress is the main barrier to having kids. The costs of housing, healthcare, education, and childcare are overwhelming. Add in job insecurity and stagnant wages and parenthood feels out of reach. But it's not just about money. Existential fears about climate change and the future also weigh heavily. Many are simply too burned out by modern life to consider raising children. Even in countries with generous family policies, exhaustion and anxiety keep birth rates low. It's a toxic mix of financial pressure, uncertainty, and burnout freezing the global birth rate. The crisis looks different around the world. Each country faces its own set of challenges shaped by culture, economy, and history, but everywhere the story is changing. In South Korea, the world's lowest fertility rate is driven by financial stress, intense education pressure, and fierce job competition. Young couples worry about the high cost of living, long work hours, and the burden of raising children in a hyper-competitive society. Many delay marriage or choose not to have children at all, hoping to secure a better future first. Nigeria's fertility rate is higher, but economic barriers are rising, making large families harder to achieve. Urbanization, unemployment, and the cost of education are changing family dreams. More parents are rethinking how many children they can truly support, even as tradition values big families. Sweden offers generous parental leave and strong social support, yet birth rates remain low. Here, time, energy, and climate worries are bigger factors. Many parents feel stretched thin, balancing work and family, and some worry about the future their children will inherit. In the US, a mix of high childcare costs, student debt, and healthcare expenses keeps the birth rate at 1.6. The dream of a big family is often overshadowed by financial uncertainty, and many young adults delay starting families as they try to get ahead. Infertility is also a growing concern, especially in America. More couples are seeking help to conceive, facing emotional and financial hurdles along the way. Each country faces unique challenges, but the direction is the same: down. Fewer children are being born, and the impact is visible in quieter playgrounds and shrinking classrooms. No matter the culture or policy, the forces driving the baby bust are global. Economic pressures, changing values, and new expectations are reshaping what it means to start a family. The crisis adapts to local conditions, but the trend is universal. Fewer babies, everywhere. The world is entering a new era, one where the future is shaped by the children who aren't born. Why does a shrinking population matter? It creates an aging time bomb. Fewer young people means a shrinking workforce and more retirees. Our social safety nets, like pensions and healthcare, depend on a large base of workers. When the pyramid flips, the math stops working. Labor shortages threaten economic growth and innovation. Who will care for the elderly, fill jobs, or drive progress? An aging society becomes more risk-averse and less dynamic. Economic decline makes people even less likely to have children, creating a vicious cycle. The time bomb is ticking, and its impact will be felt everywhere. If we don't adapt, our world could change in ways we can't yet imagine. Around the world, governments are scrambling to reverse declining birth rates, often by offering cash incentives for having kids. The idea is simple. If raising children is expensive, maybe a little extra money will tip the scales for would-be parents. But is it really that easy to buy a baby boom? Baby bonuses, massive loans, and flashy ad campaigns have been rolled out in country after country. Yet, despite all this effort, these programs haven't sparked the kind of baby boom policymakers hope for. The playgrounds remain quiet, and the birth rate keeps falling. One-time payments or short-term perks don't solve the real, long-term costs and pressures of parenthood. Diapers, daycare, education, and healthcare add up year after year, making the decision to have a child a major financial commitment. Even in countries with generous, subsidized childcare, like Sweden and France, the birth rate barely budges. These policies help, but they're not enough to overcome deeper social and economic challenges. Some places have tried more unusual solutions, like Japan's AI baby simulators or robotic infants in classrooms. These high-tech experiments grab headlines, but they miss the heart of the problem. The real issue isn't a lack of knowledge about babies, it's the overwhelming burden of raising them in today's world. Parents face sleepless nights, financial stress, and the constant challenge of balancing work and family. The United Nations warns that simplistic or coercive policies often backfire, sometimes making things worse by increasing pressure or resentment among families. Real solutions require making parenthood genuinely viable. Affordable housing, paid parental leave, accessible healthcare, flexible work hours, and a supportive environment for families to thrive. There's no single silver bullet. Only a society that truly supports families, at home, at work, and in the community, can hope to reverse the trend and encourage people to have more children. Until then, the baby bust continues, and the world waits for a new generation that may never arrive. Why should you care right now? Because this will affect your job, your taxes, and your community sooner than you might think. Fewer workers mean higher taxes or fewer public services. Labor shortages could boost wages for some, but also threaten entire industries. Cities may shrink, services may disappear, and the world could feel emptier and less vibrant. Is this the apocalypse? Probably not. It may be the next stage of human evolution, a smaller, older, perhaps more sustainable society. The real crisis is that our systems are built for endless growth. The challenge now, adapt to a new demographic reality or risk being left behind entirely.